Hello, and welcome to the Miskatonic Playhouse. I'm T.A. Newman, your host. My team and I will be bringing to life adventures using the 7th edition Call of Cthulhu role-playing game, which contains mature themes, cosmic horror, character death, and loss of sanity. Our mystery can be found in the Miskatonic repository, where people like you and me can write adventures for others to play. We'd like to thank Syrinscape, whose tools have helped provide the background sounds that you hear. And if you'd like to become a friend of the Playhouse, then please support us on Ko-fi. That's kofi.com/Miskatonic Playhouse, where you can gain access to exclusive shows and content for as little as £1. The investigation into the disappearance of Henry Millwood takes our investigators to Sir Devlin Culverton, a man with secrets as deep as the mysteries they are trying to solve, and questionable morals to boot. Disguising themselves, they enter the Graves Hotel, where the pulsating energy contrasts sharply with the tightly knit societal circles to which they are accustomed. Now it's time to pull back the curtain and roll the dice. Keeper, the stage is yours.
Thank you. Dearest viewers, good evening and welcome back to the Miskatonic Playhouse. As always, I am your most humble servant, ValyGirl Heather, and I am keeper for tonight's ongoing scenario, The Well of All Fear by Cat Clay. Tonight, we rejoin our investigators as they have arrived at the den of ill repute, the Graves Hotel. And, well, in their disguises, hope not to be recognized to save their reputation as they continue to search for clues to find the mysterious Henry Millwood. Once again, I extend an invitation to you all to join us as we continue this tale of mystery, blood, and murder? Well, let us find out. Investigators, let us begin. You have all entered the Graves Hotel. The sounds of gambling surround you. There's music and laughter, few screams here and there, but nothing out of the ordinary for such a den of ill repute. A place as sordid as this you have been warned about for many years, especially our ladies. This is the type of place that no proper woman would ever be seen at. But here you are, dressed as you are, and prepared to seek out one DF, as mentioned in Mr. Millwood's diary. And you believe you have found that DF sitting in the corner, a stout, rough-looking man, currently speaking rather roughly with, well, let's just say one of the ladies of the evening that happen to frequent the establishment, surrounded by two incredibly large and impressively imposing bodyguards. He finishes up with the lady, shall we say, and heads up a short flight of stairs towards the back, up to what you believe is probably a small office, flanked by both of these behemoths under his employ. All of you are still standing at the doorway. Please, investigators, what is your next move?
Well, do you suppose we should follow or merely wait for him to get back?
Perhaps if we can follow without being quite obvious that we're following.
He does
Right.
seem to be a bit more exposed up there rather than surrounded by the punters, but on the other hand, we will also be exposed up there.
Do you think perhaps we should wait for him to leave the room again and then go and investigate the room and try and slip up there when nobody's looking?
I think
That
that
sounds
might be an easier option, yes.
if one of us were to accost him as he came down the stairs, then his attentions would be on us and not those seeking things in the room.
A diversion.
It worked for Goliath, I think. Oh, I'm sorry. My head's still swimming after my experience at the baths. I can't quite remember my Bible verses. I'm sure there's something in the Bible about a scapegoat or a Judas goat or... Oh, I'm awfully sorry.
Right. So which of us do you think should be the diversion? We've all got our own qualities that we could use. Who do we think would be... I suggest probably not one of the ladies, given how we saw his
Yeah.
interaction before.
Perhaps it would be
Yes.
safe with one of the gentlemen. Of course, I should hate to risk either of your reputations as you are here under your own identities. Unless, of course, you simply do not care. I believe men have that liberty.
I thought you were giving another name, sir.
I've not come up with one just yet, but nobody has asked me. I suppose I could take the name of a fellow clergyman and see whether the ruse holds. But as you can see, I am still dressed in my clerical garb.
And
Yeah,
as you stand there, Mr. Fergusson, you feel the light touch of fingers sliding across the back of your shoulders. The smell of old beer and a very heavy floral perfume hits your nostrils as one of the ladies of the establishment curls herself up next to you on the side. Hey there, Reverend.
I'm awfully sorry, but you may see that I'm here accompanied already with one of the parishioners of my flock, and he indicates Miss Chesterton, who is still upon his arm.
Oh, well, it may cost a little extra, but I'm willing to do more than one at the same time.
He's spoken for, all right? Now you stick to your patch and I'll stick to mine.
Fine. Good luck with this one. And she kind of seems to get very... A little harumph appears in her face, and she strolls off to try to find another mark.
Oh, Miss Chesterton, that was a little rude. I suppose I could always read a couple of scriptures to this poor woman. I'm sure you both would be able to listen.
I don't think that's quite what she was suggesting, Reverend.
No, I don't
No.
think quite an enlightening evening was quite in her plans for the night.
Well, I'm sure it could have been enlightening in one sense.
This is true. Do you know, I feel rather wicked. It's kind of exciting, isn't it? Maybe it's the dress. I never wear red. Must be the dress.
It's an excellent colour. You look dashing.
Quite.
Oh, thank you very much. And she sort of flirts behind her fan for a moment and flickers it so that the tendrils of her hair, which she's left loose, sort of lift in a little breeze and sort of wiggles her shoulders a little bit. I think I'm getting far too comfortable with this. No, be sensible, Ruth. And she snaps her fan shut.
But yes,
Right.
a false name for you.
Yes.
You could be... let me think. Reverend Thomas Jacobs. Yes, I think that was his name. He was an odd fellow.
Thomas...
But I'm sure you could pass off as him for the night.
Thomas Jacobs. Yes. I'm sure nobody here would know the real Thomas Jacobs, surely.
Oh no, he was far off.
There's probably more than one Thomas Jacobs anyway. If they said, are you that Thomas Jacobs? You say, no, I'm the Thomas Jacobs of Winchester or something.
Very well. I shall be Mr. Thomas Jacobs at your service. And Mr. Fergusson does a deep bow to you.
And Ruth curtsies in return.
The manner of your costing, Mr. Fife, are you quite sure you'll be all right?
I'm sure. I'm sure he must be a reasonable man. To be fair,
I think you should do away with that notion rather quickly.
who does not enjoy a brief sermon on the wages of sin? I'm sure he would be most receptive on that.
Yes, I think you should absolutely start speaking to him about sin.
Excellent. I shall do my best.
And if you get into trouble, we shall do our best to assist you.
Do be careful, Mr. Fergusson.
I am always careful, and he steps forwards and stumbles slightly.
All right. So, Mr. Fergusson, are you headed up the small flight of stairs then?
Well,
Is that where it makes sense?
my plan was to initially wait until Mr. Fife exits the office.
Okay.
But if he's not
We can
showing
see
any sign of that, it might be worth his while heading up the stairs, knocking on the door, and trying to draw Mr. Fife out of the office.
You, the group of you decide that maybe not, standing in the doorway is probably not the best way to fit in. And you all make your way to one corner of the very long wood bar, well worn, definitely has seen better days, but is still quite functional. After a time of watching the area, a small fight breaks out at one point. Somebody else seems to win big at one of the tables. You do see that there are a small bank of windows that it looks like Mr. Fife is able, you see him occasionally looking down and around when the volume, for whatever reason, seems to, someone's cheering or someone's yelling. And occasionally you will see a bodyguard kind of, him talking to one, but he doesn't seem to make any indication of coming out of the upstairs office.
In that case, I feel I must ascend into the Devil's Lair itself. And Mr. Fergusson slowly treads on the stairs as he creeps up towards the office.
Like Daniel entering the lion's den.
Are we quite sure he should be going up alone?
Well, he's doing it now.
And he raps smartly on the door.
And we'll get back to that in just a second. Is anybody else doing anything while Mr. Fergusson is headed into the office?
I want to look around, see if ask around a bit, in a very casual manner about Henry. See if there's anyone that I recognize, anyone that has any information, anything I can overhear.
I think I'm sticking with you and just kind of, keeping an ear out for anything, especially if there's people gambling, seeing if there's any references to recent big losses or arguments.
Same, kind of watching the card tables and just keeping an eye out. Also, if Sir Devlin is mentioned at any point, kind of keeping an ear out to hear anything there.
Okay. Our dear captain and lady, masquerading as the lady of the evening, you make your way kind of wandering through the tables a bit. Go ahead and give me listen checks, please.
Failure. 55.
Oh, 18 over 20.
Okay.
Is that for me as well?
Yes, well, go ahead and make a listen check because you're kind of wandering around yourself.
Oh, that's a failure. 77 against 20.
So I will say this, Miss Chesterton, you have more, how should we put this delicately? You spend more time fending off those who may wish to, you have several offers of inquiring about your services for the evening, more than a few hands that seem to take liberty in touching you, your hand, your arm. One actually cups your your derriere, and you are more focused on trying to fit in while protecting your delicacies, rather than being able to really kind of dig into anything. Yeah, Captain and Miss Penelope, you two, probably as you seem to be more of a couple, do make your way through the crowd a bit. You there's talk of all sorts of things. Most of it very bawdy. Some of it's very a few bits that are a little bit more graphic in terms of what gentleman would like to do once he receives his winnings with one of the ladies of the establishment. Um, there is talk of who's going to be at the ball tomorrow in 2 days' time. One thing you do catch with that role is you overhear one gentleman talking with his compatriots at the table. Looks like the game has ended and they are going to be starting another one soon. And you do overhear that, he seems to be discussing how he's, missing some of, they're all missing some of their favorite friends who, they're throwing back drinks in memory of them and wondering what happened to them, and telling tales of where, maybe they've run off, and when they just up and disappeared, and how dare they, but they probably went after that one woman that he was so fond of. Oh, what was her name? Oh, whatever. She was such a flirt. Uh or that there was talk of a duel. Maybe he got into a duel and they buried him secretly in the garden. That weird brother of hers. And they toss back even more drinks. They are all very inebriated. But you do not overhear anything pointing towards Sir Devlin Culverton or for Mr. Millwood. And
Let it be a fairly common occurrence.
And now we're going to move back to our dear Reverend, who is knocking on the door. It is opened by one of the hulking frames of one of the bodyguards, who looks down at you silently with very hard eyes. He seems to be awaiting something from you.
Please be so good as to tell Mr. Fife that the Reverend Thomas Jacobs begs an audience. We have a mutual acquaintance in Sir Devlin Culverton.
The bodyguard's eyes flicker over in the direction, and Mr. Fife goes, who's that? What do they want? Culverton? Did he say Culverton?
Mr. Fife, I would beg an audience with you, sir. I have a proposition you may wish to hear.
Yeah. Get him. And he kind of waves his hand over. The bodyguard moves aside about 2 steps, just enough to let you in. And as you step forward, shuts the door quite soundly and stands in front of it. Mr. Fife is sitting behind a leather-lined desk with, stroking his chin and looking you over from top to bottom. A small, odd smile you think is of amusement seeing the collar, though he doesn't say anything about it. The room is sparsely decorated. It has some bare necessities. It has a shelf with looks like some ledgers on them, a coat stand with it looks like a green wool jacket, um, yeah, inkstand, burning paraffin candle. The windows, as you look over, you can see kind of down into the game area. And he just kind of sits there. Well, what's this about Culverton? Where is he? One of my best players.
Mr. Fergusson bows, or should I say, Mr. Jacobs bows deeply to Mr. Five. Yes, I have come from Sir Devlin. I spoke to him only this morning, and he suggested that you may be able to provide us information in exchange for mutual benefit, as it were. You see, I have been observing your parishioners downstairs, and I feel that their attentions are not being best used to to their full ability. If you understand what I'm saying.
No.
Well, as you know, the wages of sin, as it were, you're following what I'm saying here. The wages of sin, of course, quite high, and those downstairs, those poor lowly folk, their attentions are not as one would expect, and I imagine that their work could be put to more profitable use. Again, if you understand my gist.
Reverend, these are humble folk, you say? Humble.
Oh, no, Mr. Fife, do not misrepresent me. I know that the people down there have great worth. Again, if you understand my gist.
I
Great
think
worth
you mean wealth.
that is not being tapped as well as one could. In my mind here, Mr. Fergusson is still trying to preach about their virtues and goodness, but is doing so in such a way that hopefully Mr. Finch is thinking he's talking about money. We shall see. We shall see.
It takes him a few minutes, but he's kind of catching on, but you think that after a few minutes, like, he's just having fun listening to you try not to use the most circumvented method to saying anything.
But in order,
come now, Reverend. Just say what you mean. They have wealth, they bring in money. What are you proposing?
well, it is well known that those with wealth, of course, need a means to spend it. Once a great woman once wrote, "It is a truth universally acknowledged that a man in possession of a good fortune must be in want of something or other." I never actually finished that book, but those downstairs, quite often are faced with situations that they find themselves unable to escape from. Mr. Henry Millwood, for one, I believe, was such a gentleman. Now, Sir Devlin has tasked me with finding Mr. Millwood. And again, I wonder whether, such a lost sheep from your flock, you might have an idea as to where he's gone.
Yes, Henry. I wonder where he's been. He and Culverton are thick as thieves, those two. And after their argument the other night, well, a few nights ago, after their argument, at least a few handful of nights ago, he hasn't been in since. And I swear, if Culverton has run him off, I am not going to be a very happy man.
Well, we were led to believe that actually Culverton may have had some impact, and he delicately pulls out the ransom note, not the ransom note, sorry, the blackmail note that Culverton gave him, and hands it over. Do you recognize the hand in which this is written?
Let's see. Not sure of the hand. Not sure, and as he holds it, as he kind of holds it up to the paraffin lamp, you notice something occur on the page.
Seems to be a watermark or something similar there. Do I recognize that watermark that I'm seeing?
Ah,
Oh, actually, I
as a
do.
matter,
I recognize that from a previous invitation that we had. Is that the Buxton's Ladies Horticultural Society logo? Crest.
you do believe so.
Excellent.
We're investigating.
Mr. Fife, I don't suppose you happen to be a member of the Buxton Ladies Horticultural Society?
Do I look like that? Please. First of all, I do believe I have a rather substantial feature that prevents me from being part of a ladies' society.
Yes, I had to say your beard was most spectacular, sir.
I think I like you. Yeah. So I don't know who did this. Doesn't sound good to me, but then again, well, let's just say the good Lord provides means when what is it they say, Reverend? God helps those who help themselves. Well, I've seen a few letters of this in my time. We'll just leave it at that. But to answer your earlier question, why, yes. Mr. Millwood was here, fracking up his debts and drinking all evening with Sir Culverton. So the two of them, again, thick as thieves, and I'm not happy that he hasn't been back. But I don't know if either of them, if they were working together. They do, well, at least Culverton wins quite a bit, and Millwood, bless his soul, loses to my house quite often. And I understand then they started arguing over some bet. I don't know what happened, but it wasn't good. Mr. Millwood got quite drunk, and tried to beat Culverton senseless. At least he tried to. Um, well, I don't know what it was, but by the end of the night, he staggered around, practically unconscious from the grog, and let's just say my uh, gentleman here made sure that he was tossed out soundly when it got to be too much.
Well, I think your gentleman did a most sterling work, sir. Indeed, one must always intercept the disruptive elements of society before they cause an issue. Well, I feel that our conversation has been most elucidating, sir, and I do hope that I will see you on Sunday.
Only in a pine box, Reverend, but I appreciate your enthusiasm.
Well, I'm afraid the stalls are actually oak, but I'm sure we could put a pine one in at some point if it would entice you to come and visit us at St. John the Baptist. Good day, sir. I shall leave you to your business. He tips his hat, or puts his hat on to tip it and takes it off because he's inside and not wearing his hat. And
And as your conversation wraps up,
him.
Miss Chesterton, you have pretty much had it trying to move about the room with the more than sordid and rather randy offers to do any number of things on any number of your body parts, questioning your morals and your values. And it comes to a head when one of the rather drunken players at one of the tables wraps his arm around you and attempts to pull you into his lap right there at the table. Could you possibly make me a POW roll, please?
A POW roll, okay. Yes, the novelty has definitely worn off for her now. And that is a success of 50 against 55.
Okay. I'm not going to roll for him, but he is rather drunk. You know what? Actually, I will roll. Let's see. Oh, well. Wow, it doesn't actually show me what I rolled. Please, somebody tell me what I rolled.
That was a 78. You rolled a 63 and a
yes.
15.
Yeah. So he is very drunken, and you're able to kind of squirm out, but he starts yelling, and practically throwing a bit of a fit that, screaming rather nasty names, in your direction, uh, as he attempts to try to grab you again. It is starting to cause quite a scene, in the room. Captain and Miss Penelope, you hear and you see your compatriot pulling herself off of a rather drunken man who is now getting very angry, and yelling things and attempting to get up out of his chair with some difficulty due to the drink, and trying to go after her, basically claiming, that he's a paying customer and deserves to have what he wants. Reverend Mr. Fergusson, as you come out of the door, you start to hear the voices and the commotion from below. What is everyone
close enough? Sorry, am I close enough to get to him and push him back into his chair?
I'd say you probably have to make your way across the room a little bit. You're probably about 10 steps away. So it'll take you a minute.
Yeah, we push and we go quickly to try and get there.
Okay. So you head over, and he is going to kind of drunkenly stand up. Hey, get your own.
I think you'll
Jeez.
find that this is my own. Now you better sit back down, and I will push him on the shoulder and try and shove him back into the chair.
Believe me, sir, you could never afford it if there was a price. Which there isn't and never will be, sir.
Okay. If you're going to push him down, it probably won't take too much, but let's just make sure you don't fumble this. So, go ahead and, just give me a strength check, because you're just kind of, actually a brawl. Give me a brawl to try to see if you can smash him back into his chair.
That is extreme success.
Oh,
It was worth
wonderful.
Of 950.
That's fine. We will take that. Because he, even with his liquid courage in him, he is quite full of that liquid courage, and therefore his is not the most dexterous or well within his faculties at this point. So you come up and you very soundly push him back into his chair, holding him very much in place. When he starts to argue against that move, he looks up and sees your countenance, with your uniform and everything else, in full captain mode. And, oh, Captain, I apologize.
Now apologize to the lady.
Yeah, I am sorry, Madame. I am your most humble servant.
Ruth steps back very quickly, just because clearly something is about to go flying.
Yeah.
Me too.
And he tries to get up. Do you let him go?
No. Well, I'll let him. I mean, if he looks like he's going to throw up, then sure.
He is starting to look very green at the gills. You have seen this before.
Okay. I don't want to be. I'll move back.
And as you let go of his hand, he dashes up and out in a different direction, out through one of the doorways. You're pretty sure he doesn't make it because you do hear something wet hit the floor with some gagging and some a scream of horror. A scream of horror and some yelling from the other room. So you're pretty sure he did not make it.
I will turn to the crowd of, I'm assuming, gawking men, and loudly announce, now would anybody else like to try and touch one of my ladies?
After a little bit of laughter from a few of the gentlemen around some of the various tables and some of the ladies, you're getting the impression that this is pretty much in every people going and throwing up and arguing over women is probably the norm. So everyone just goes back to playing, and nothing else seems to come of it.
Are you quite all right, Ruth?
Yes, thank you, Captain, but that was distinctly uncomfortable, although I have to say I've heard those insults many times before. Don't distress yourself too much on my account.
Yes, well, they like to say things a lot, and frankly, no matter how much they say it or how many times it's heard, it's still disgusting. So
Yes, it is. But I know that I am twice the lady that he is even half a gentleman, so.
Quite right.
So are you going to take these ladies upstairs or what? And you realize that one of the a larger gentleman, the one who was at the front door, has come over looks like to see what's happened, and is looking at you, Captain. Well,
why, of course.
Get to work.
And I will offer my arm to Ruth.
And she takes it gladly.
Yeah.
Yes.
And I will head up the stairs. Can we see, because you were coming out the stairs?
Yes.
Out the door. So we'll sort of pass you on the way, I guess.
Well, the stairs go up it's a small flight of stairs, and it just goes up to the office. There are a few doorways that have the green velvet curtains across them that probably lead to other parts of the establishment at the hotel.
Right.
And then there's the front door.
All right. I guess we'll head behind a curtain. We're not going to go up to his office. I'm assuming that's what he meant.
As we're moving across the room, do we see a glimpse of the Reverend?
Yeah, I want to try and let him know where we're going.
You'll see him at this point. Mr. Fergusson has reached the bottom of the stairs and is probably. I'm guessing you're heading over to the rest of your group.
Oh yes, absolutely. Heading towards the only naval officer in the room to see whether. Hopefully, there's not more than one. That would be embarrassing.
Okay.
I think we're hard to miss as a group,
Yes.
aren't we?
I say, friends.
All right.
Are we heading off already, or?
That depends. How did things go with Mr. Fife?
Perhaps a little privacy, and I'll sort of tug you towards the curtain.
Nice.
Where I don't want anyone to be listening in.
Very, very well. Yes, I'm sure these little booths will be quite private enough.
As you go behind the curtain, you step into a hallway, and it is at the end of that hallway that you do see there is a door out looks like to the outside, and from outside you hear a coach and some horses kind of going by.
Did you discover anything?
Indeed, I did. There is a watermark on the letter of blackmail that Sir Devlin received, and he pulls it out of his pocket and hands it over to you. And I think I recognize this symbol or this crest, this wreath of laurels and monogram in the center, as being the same as on our invitations to the ball tomorrow.
Can we currently see the watermark if there's not a flame behind it?
What was the
Yes.
question?
Yes. You believe, with a little bit of science, that probably the heat from the light. Now that he mentions it, and you kind of hold it up to one of the lanterns in the hallway, and as you hold it up, you can see that watermark coming through. Now that you know what to look for.
Feel we may be wanting to pay a visit to the gardens, if that's where the Buxton's Ladies Horticultural Society, and I have it on good assurance that Mr. Fife is not a member.
Well, I didn't think that he was, but well done for deducing such a thing. I don't quite know why a horticultural society would be interested in blackmailing poor Louisa's... blackmailing Devlin into doing such a thing.
No.
And at such a happy time of year for them, too.
Yes.
Maybe it is not the society itself, but maybe one actor in bad faith who has access to their stationery.
Corrupt individual.
Indeed.
Well, there was mention of rumours about... There was a mention of something to do with the party. But I don't remember what it was, so I'm not overly helpful right now.
Well, that was where Henry was intending on matchmaking a little.
Yes.
But-
Is Louisa
Yeah.
a member in good standing of the Buxton Ladies Horticultural Society? Could someone there have a grudge against her? A grudge against the whole family, perhaps?
It is a distinct possibility, especially if they were aware of Mr. Millwood's bet with Sir Devlin, but it cannot be because this letter was received before the wager was made.
Well, yes. I mean, he was already in quite a lot of debt and potentially seeking more security for Louisa. If somebody wished to see that fail beforehand, they may well have set all of this up. But
Mrs. Huntley.
Mrs. Huntley?
Mrs. Huntley?
What about her?
Mrs. Huntley?
Well, did she not have issues with Henry?
Yes, she
There
did.
was- Something was said about... Well, she didn't approve in one way or another.
I suppose. But to do away with him like that and throw poor Louisa's security into the mix as well is... Well,
She wants her son. Her son and Louisa. That was it.
Yes. And if
Remove the black sheep of the family, as it were.
and
of course, leave Louisa with no options.
Yes,
She would be forced to find security.
she would.
Well, how despicable.
is Miss Huntley a member of the Horticultural Society? How
Well,
would we
yes,
find-
was she not the one who invited us to the event?
Yes, she was.
She was indeed, yes.
Yes, as guests of Miss Louisa Millwood.
Yes.
Of course.
This conspiracy, it's monstrous.
How awful.
But if they are holding Henry against his will, where would they be doing so? Would it be at Huntley Hall? Or is there some potting shed somewhere in the gardens that they might stash him?
Well,
Or another
I suppose the
location
only way-
altogether.
Yes.
well, quite. Perhaps the only way to find out is to go and investigate ourselves.
Well, we do seem to be in the habit of it.
Yes. Well, we do have an invitation to the ball. I'm sure that we can slip away during the
Yes,
course of
perhaps
the evening.
we could look around the house and see anything that might be incriminating, or anywhere one might keep an unwilling guest.
Yes.
And we want to wait until the ball. We don't want to
Well,
Well,
have a look early.
it is a good cover of getting into the house, and the family will be quite distracted.
Although there
One
is
hope.
nearly a whole week before the ball, can we really leave Louisa in this agony of distress that we
A
found
whole
her in
week? I thought it
yesterday?
was 2 days.
The ball
Was
is
it?
it's not.
It's in 2 days. So
Oh, it's in 2 days.
It's the you are currently in the later evening of Good Friday. It's Saturday, and then the ball is supposed to be Sunday evening.
My mistake. I fear this, all these difficulties are changing my perception of time, perhaps.
But is
It's
there?
been quite a night.
Did we also not receive an invitation to the garden party on the day of the ball, before the ball itself? So if there was something going on at the garden party, we might be able to sneak through the house a little earlier.
Or perhaps we can investigate the gardens during the garden party and then the house during the ball.
Indeed.
So you
If there
remember
is
that
some kind of
Plenty of
outbuilding.
time.
So all of you remember that the garden party is being held at Millwood Manor. That Miss Louisa is the one throwing that.
Sorry, apologies.
So it would be Sunday morning. The general schedule would be morning Easter services, and then the garden party at Millwood Manor in the early afternoon. A few hours off from that for everyone to rest and then prepare for the ball, and then the ball is held in the evening at Huntley Hall. So all of you are aware of that.
Okay. We remember these things.
Our characters know.
Our characters know
The
things.
characters know.
Well, given
Okay.
that it's quite late of an evening, I fear that we may be best suited to investigation at the more sociable hours of the day. May I
Yes.
suggest we retire and see where
We
tomorrow...
ought not remain here any longer than necessary.
You don't want to use the cover of night to not be seen.
The only thing I can I could propose is that where we are in Buxton, our walk back down to the Crescent and my stay at the rectory will take us through the gardens in the centre of town. If there is anything untoward there, under the cover of dark, we may be able to sniff it out.
Well, that's an excellent idea, Reverend. Should
Yes.
we head there now?
Well, that depends on you ladies, on whether you'd like to change first.
Well, I'm quite content as long as I can button this coat back up.
Yes, I'll just put the cloak's hood up, and I think at this time of night that's enough to hide me.
Yes, as long as I'm back in good standing by daylight, I'm quite all right.
May I, as keeper, am I allowed to use my real world knowledge of Buxton to suggest that if we walk through the gardens, we can actually do that on our way home from Graves?
There is the areas that the garden party is going to be held on the estate, on Millwood Manor Estate in the gardens there.
I'm thinking more. I'm thinking more the large green
Or
expanse, the terraces in.
okay.
Of Buxton itself, leading. So when you've got the Crescent, pump house behind it, and then up the hill, you've got the wonderful sculpted gardens of Buxton.
Yes. You know that you. Yeah. I mean, you know you could. Again, it's getting quite late, and it's still spring, so it is a bit chilly out. But you can, if you want to, move the, have the coachman drop you off somewhere there. You do know that being out in the open like that, you would be exposed. But yes, you absolutely could if you wish.
And feel free to say that if there's nothing there for us to investigate, we can skip over it. Sorry, I don't want to derail the plot by going to a wrong place.
Really, you're not sure what if anything it would really bring about.
I'm just wondering if the Buxton Horticultural Society have more civic aims. There may be evidence of them there. I don't know. They might have a small property or something. Just a thought.
You do know that there are. You had towards that area. St. Anne's Well is there that all of you have heard about. That people generally a lot of the tourists, but a lot of the people who would go to the baths also go to St. Anne's Well to imbibe of the waters. There are, it's very, the promenade area is fairly open. There are some statuaries. Obviously there's some, some greenery, some flowers. But there's no like buildings or anything to explore there.
That's okay. In that case, I feel it's probably prudent for us to head directly back home rather than derail us any further.
All right. Shall we get ourselves back somewhere quite safe and decent then?
Yes, I think we've outstayed our welcome here.
A carriage, or it's quite a long walk, isn't it? And so
Yes, we ought to take a carriage or a coach.
Okay. You head outside. Everyone give me a spot hidden, please.
Ooh. I love being told that there's something hidden, and then we all fail, so we don't find out what the hidden thing is. Hard success.
Oh, success.
11 over 25.
23 under 25. Oh no, sorry. I was 33 over 25 failure. I see nothing.
I'm another failure. 64 against 25.
Okay.
But a hard success for the captain.
Yes. And
nice.
that will come into play in just a few minutes. So you head outside, and there are a few coaches. You see the one that you came to the hotel in. I'm guessing you are all piling back into the coach and heading out? Or you tell me.
Yeah, we were looking for a coach, so
might as well.
Yeah.
Okay. You all go into the cab and start to head back into Buxton. It's a little bit of a drive, but not incredibly long. But Captain, one thing you do notice is now I'm going to ask, do you go straight there, or do you do back the same way you came, where you stopped at one pub, switched cabs, got into the next one? How are you doing this?
Depends on what the ladies would prefer, to be honest.
I don't think we need to be as careful as going, but I would suggest maybe one stop sort of to keep it a little bit more of a roundabout route.
Yeah.
A slightly more respectable place for us.
Yeah. Maybe a different route than the one we came by, just in case we are being watched.
Okay. This actually works in the captain's favor. So your cab comes to a halt in front of one of the pubs that you had stopped off on the way. And you take a few minutes, and then you acquire the services of another cab and get into that and take that. Captain, one of the things that you've noticed is that there is another cab that seems to be, you're pretty sure is following you. And this is a very fine black carriage with gold trim. It comes to the same pub location. It seems to stop. You don't notice anybody get out. The curtains are drawn on the doors that most people would look out, so you don't see anybody within. And it doesn't seem to bother you until you get into the second cab and start to head back towards the Crescent Hotel. And you notice that when your cab pulls out, this other cab also seems to pull out and seems to be going the same direction. You get back to the Crescent Hotel and
We get back.
Okay.
Sorry.
No,
I
please.
will. We seem to be being trailed. Should we ask for a different location, or are we continuing on where we're going?
We could, if like. I'm headed back to the rectory rather than the Crescent, which is where I am currently staying. We could take a detour via there and see whether we can lose our tail.
That might be
Yes.
wise.
Excellent plan.
Yes, and perhaps even take separate carriages from the rectory. If there's only one pursuer, they can't follow all of us.
All right.
That is true, but I'm not quite sure how safe that might be.
I think we get to the rectory, we see what happens if we get approached. If we don't get approached, but they stay, perhaps we take things into our own hands and we approach them.
Perhaps.
Do we have any
Agreed?
idea of... Yes. Any idea of who might be following us?
Well, we were asking about Henry Millwood. Anybody with an interest in the disappearance or with a stake or a hand in it may feel a little threatened, perhaps, or simply wish to keep an eye on us.
How did Louisa describe the carriage that she saw taking Henry away? She said she didn't see a livery. Could this be the same carriage?
I think she described it as a black carriage.
Carriage with
Not an
gold trim?
uncommon
No.
occurrence, but a coincidence in nonetheless.
I'll give there's a door to, there's a little window.
Yeah.
I'll open the window to the driver and say that we've got a change of destination and ask to be taken to the rectory.
Yes, sir. Right away, sir. And he turns off onto the road that would head in the direction of the rectory. The other carriage seems to continue to follow.
May I suggest, if I alight at the rectory and make it appear as if I was the only person in the carriage, then the carriage driver the second carriage may not elect to follow, and if they do, then at least you three are together, and I am in safety.
I fear,
Safe at home, yes. Well,
I fear they followed us from the first carriage, saw us leave it, get into another, and then followed this one.
So they're aware there are four of us.
I think they may have seen all of us. Of course, if you'd like to get out and leave on your own. And
a second option here could be, what if I alight from the visible side of the carriage, you three alight sneakily from the other side of the carriage, and then we ask the driver to drive back to the Crescent, pretending that there are people inside the carriage, while all four of us are at the rectory.
Yes, that's an excellent
Very well.
idea.
I think that's a very good idea.
Yes, if we time it correctly as well, perhaps when another carriage is passing.
Yes. I think
yes.
we should relay this to the driver.
yeah, I will pass that on, and I will offer to pay whatever he wants me to do to do that for us.
A sizable tip for his discretion.
Excellent. Okay. So you get the carriage pulls up to the rectory. You've noticed now that you all have kind of eyes on this other carriage. The carriage has kind of dropped back a bit, but is still just within range. And you're pretty sure that's probably on purpose. It feels very deliberate. You pull up to the rectory. Now, Mr. Fergusson, you are headed out to be very visible. Yes?
Yes.
Okay. So you are going to step out onto the side of the carriage that most people wouldn't normally step out, which is on the opposite side. So if the rectory is on one side and the carriage is here, you're stepping out on the other side to be very obvious that you're stepping out. The other three of you then are leaving from the more inside door, trying to sneak where? Tell me how you guys want to play this out. And those who are sneaking, I will need stealth rolls.
Is there
I'm thinking that the carriage is done a bit of a turn, or if there's a bit to park in a bit that's not on the main road. Because in my head, a rectory has a little bit that it can go into.
Carriage house,
So,
yeah.
So we
Yeah.
put out the that they can't see, so that we can sneak and like try and like stay it, like get to whatever the carriage house is, or like to a
Like
barn,
around
a
the
wall.
corner of a wall.
Yeah.
Yeah. Is there like a tradesman's entrance, that kind of thing? Is there, or I don't know, a tree which has got nice shadows underneath it, anywhere that's not
Or
in sort of the direct sight line of the road?
There would be a road that I believe would come up and allow people who it wouldn't be like right at the door. Generally, if people are coming to church, they would there would be almost like a crescent, like a semicircle that uh, that the carriages would come around and then stop in front of the main doors to drop people off. Is a side door for the rectory off a little ways. Um, what
Yeah.
the driver suggests is that if you didn't want to be seen, is potentially that he would be on the main road and kind of come around the side, closer to maybe the little side entrance where there's some trees and some bushes and some flowers, off to one
that's
side.
what I was imagining.
Okay. So that's what the driver suggests. And he seems to, with the sizable tip that you have given, is willing to work with you to do this. So he pulls up to the side with the little side entrance, with the little side arch along the wall. And there's lots of trees and bushes, and you think a quick dash from the doorway into the bushes would be, it wouldn't take more than maybe 10 or 12 steps before you would just kind of slip in. You know that you have probably about 15 seconds, roughly, maybe 10 seconds at best, before this other carriage meets up with your stopped carriage. So if you jump out just at the right time, you should be able to do this, assuming nobody trips out of the carriage or anything happens.
We'll give that a go
Should
then.
we roll?
What are we
So
rolling again?
So, Mr. Fergusson, you are stepping out of the other side of the carriage onto the street, and will walk around to make it obvious that you are getting out. The other three, Captain and the two ladies, I would need you to make me dex checks to make sure nobody falls and trips and collapses onto the.
Where's my dex?
Oh, failure.
Oh
95.
no! Hard success for Penelope.
A failure of 87 against 45 for Ruth.
Okay. So Miss Penelope is able to spring quite deftly from the inside of the carriage, and very quickly disappears into the shadows of all of the flora through the little archway. Unfortunately, our delightful captain attempts to do so and stumbles out, misstepping in their attempt to make this, and stumbles forward a bit, attempting to try to catch themselves. And Miss Ruth Chesterton, for all of her grace and poise normally, unfortunately was so closely behind the captain that both of you kind of fall into a bit of a heap on top of each other on the side near the doorway.
Penelope's just kind of frozen in the bushes because she doesn't want to give herself away, but she desperately wants to help. So if you did look over, you'd just see her very startled eyes in the bush, not knowing what to do.
Would either of you like to push the roll to attempt to try to make this either try to do something a little bit different, to maybe try to at least keep yourselves a little bit more prone, or maybe be able to
On the
crawl
carriage.
quickly into the bushes. You tell
I
me.
don't like my odds. I only have decks of 45, so
I'm willing to do it because I think it's okay if you two get caught together. They might still try and see what the other couple go up to. So, but I don't know whether to quickly try and crawl to the bushes or whether to try and like roll under the carriage and hold on. But I think given that they're going to try and potentially follow the carriage,
You tell me.
I guess
What would you like to do?
I'll. How far away am I from the bush?
No, like I said, about 10 or 12 steps at best. It's very, very close.
Okay. Then I will say, Miss Ruth, please go make a scene for me. And if she agrees, if she sort of makes to try and get the attention, I will try and very quickly crawl as fast as I can over to the bush as well.
Okay. So you're going to try and crawl over to the bushes just as quickly as you possibly can.
Hoping that they're being distracted by the lady.
Reverend, you see all this occur. You are still very well on your feet, as you had no plans to dash. What are you doing in this particular instance?
I think I look at. I try not to look at what is occurring behind the carriage, but aware that things are not going quite to plan. I loudly thank the driver, trying to draw some of the attention onto me. I loudly thank the driver and offer him a small tip from my money purse, but make a big show of trying to find the money. Oh, I knew it was in here somewhere. Oh, it must be in this pocket. No, it's not in that pocket. Ah, here it is, of course. Oh, I've spilled a couple of coins on the floor. Let me bend down and pick those up. Ah, here we go. A bright sovereign for you, good driver, good man.
As you are all doing this, the coach has gotten much, much closer. You are able to see it is a very fine black carriage, just very expensive. Definitely not your average run-of-the-mill cab. This is a full carriage, beautiful gold trim. And as it passes, it seems to speed up towards you. It speeds up to get to you as all of this is happening. It slows down for just a moment. You do see the curtains part. If anyone wants to give me a spot hidden to see if they see anything.
Would love
definitely. Definitely.
Okay.
Yes. I think Ruth is pretending
Ooh.
that she's stumbled because she's turned her ankle. So she's sort of leaning against the carriage and making little painful noises, and but keeping her face angled towards the carriage to see if she can see what's in there. And not very well, because she's got 34 against 25.
I feel Mr. Fergusson being a little closer to the carriage made quite a nice hard success with an 11 under 25.
Nice.
Fine.
I was paying very close attention to try and sneak away from them. I succeeded with my 18 over 25. Do I need to roll my dex again, or
No, I'm not going to have
Okay.
to do that. Okay, so for our hard success, you get what you see in the light, the passing light, which there isn't much of, is a vague outline of a face. You are not entirely sure, but it seems to be female in nature, from just something about it. But then you hear kind of this, the knock knock, that you hear a loud knock, and then the driver speeds up very quickly and dashes off into the night.
Interesting.
And all of you are left in the quiet of the evening as the clip-clop of the galloping horse from the carriage disappears.
Do you think we should follow them? I say, probably before they get out of sight as they start to dash away.
Yes, perhaps.
Yes, let's.
But
But
Penelope,
carefully.
We bundle back into the carriage and try to follow them as best we can. Because I'll say it as soon as they start to pass us.
Our carriage driver is so bemused.
Yeah.
He's earning a lot of money tonight.
Mhm.
Yes.
This is like the most exciting job he's had all week. He's going to be drinking and dining out on this one for a long time.
So all of you pile back into the carriage, and the driver pulls away and attempts to go fairly quickly, but not too quickly, down the road. The night is quiet. There is almost no movement out, and there is no sign of the other carriage.
This must be a magic carriage. It's disappeared.
Well,
It did have a little bit of a head start on you, as it took all of you a little bit to kind of regather yourselves and get back into the carriage and get started.
And their horses are probably better horses than we've
Mm.
got.
but on the bright
It's a
side,
very rich
we
carriage.
got away.
That is
Yes.
quite true, yes. I fear the Reverend is not particularly... sorry. I feel Mr. Fergusson is not particularly awake at this point now after all of this excitement. So he may, if we've lost the carriage and pulled to a halt, he may just say, I feel you have to excuse me for this evening, but I shall see you bright and early at the Crescent, and alights from the carriage
Yes.
and walks back to the rectory and lets himself back in.
Sleep well, Mr. Fergusson.
Yes, I hope your night is restful.
Mm.
Quite.
And Penelope's just picking leaves out of her hair.
So do the rest
Well,
the rest of you head to the Crescent?
Back to the Crescent. Mm.
You are all exhausted, weary. This has definitely been the most amount of physical exertion that you've had in quite some time. All of you desperately wish you could have a bath, but at least comb the bits and pieces, the little twigs and whatever else out of the tangled hair, wiping the makeup off of the face the best you can with some warm water from the wash bowl, and each of you go back to your rooms and fall desperately to deep sleep. The next morning arises, but the feeling is not bright and cheerful as it should be. The sun seems almost dimmed. The air is almost oppressive. It's gloomy. Everything feels heavy. It's just one of those days where you just don't want to get out of bed, and the aches, a bit of the aches that you have in your bodies as you are awakened, try to convince you to stay in bed otherwise. But you know that there is still much more to do. Each of you, I'm sure, probably clean yourselves up the best you can, putting on proper attire, and head to get some tea, because a good strong cup of tea at this point sounds to be the most glorious thing. Reverend, I'm assuming that you probably have cleaned yourself up, taken care of, made some apologies, and have headed over to the Crescent.
Indeed, yes.
Okay. The talk in the room as you find your compatriots sitting around having tea and some nibbles for them to try to get their strength up in the morning. One of the things all of you notice is that the concierge seems to be very lively this morning. He seems to be directing with some very strong of purpose, several employees, while the whispers, he looks like he's trying to, something is going on. Something has occurred. And he is directing the rest of the employees, with purpose. You overhear as you come in, Mr. Fergusson, something about rats, lots of rats being found dead in the lower quarters of the hotel. And it seems that they are scrambling to try to ensure that everything is taken care of and cleaned properly before anyone becomes really aware of it.
I'll seek out my compatriots and join them at the table. You heard this disturbing news about the rats here?
Rats. The rats.
The rats, yes. I overheard the
There are
concierge.
rats here.
There were. They unfortunately have departed this sphere and are now among the angels, but there were indeed a large number of them found in the lower floor of the Crescent. Are you sure you wish to be staying in such an unsanitary place?
That seems most irregular. A place as high
How many
quality as this.
How many? Well, I don't know the exact number, but numerous, I believe, was the implication.
I suppose where there is one rat, there is a whole colony.
And
It is quite worrying for a place that is known for its health and hygiene benefits.
Yes. And people
one of
here,
the-
they must come here if they're ill to take the waters of the spa.
one of the footmen, you recognize Jonas, the footman from Millwood Manor, who you see him come through the doorway to the eating area. His eyes finally land upon all of you, and he comes over and hands you a letter. And when you open it, it is a letter from Miss Louisa, stating that, gushing practically of her apologies that due to the nature of the garden, the current state, the disarray of it, and the disappearance of her brother, that she is canceling the garden party.
And
This certainly won't do.
a thought comes back to Mr. Fergusson when he was in the pump rooms yesterday. He remembers overhearing some ladies talking about how the harvests weren't ripening this year. The harvests were doing quite well and then failing in the past couple of days, and the plants were dying and the flowers weren't blooming. And his mind is taken back to the plagues of Egypt and trying desperately to piece the plague of rats into the loss of the harvest. Maybe it's some sort of mistranslation from the original Hebrew. I don't know. But he will, of course, recount that it is odd that Miss Millwood's garden is also dying, for I have overheard that other people may also be suffering such horticultural disasters as well. Again, I wonder whether maybe this is the hand of the Horticultural Society, but maybe they are sabotaging others' gardens so that they themselves may have the nicest garden of all.
Perhaps we
Have
should
we
try
heard?
and pay them a
Have
visit.
we heard anything of their garden?
I suppose that would be Huntley Hall, if that's where they are holding their ball.
Yes. I suppose it should be rather suspicious if their garden flourishes whilst all the others are failing.
Indeed.
Exactly.
Said yesterday, Mr. Fergusson, you'd gone to take the waters, and you came back feeling distinctly unlike yourself.
That's right, you did.
Could there be something in the water? I don't know, could somebody be quite literally poisoning a well? But why?
Did recall when I drank of the waters that there was something in the water itself that I almost could detect, but I wasn't quite sure what it was. Keeper, did Mr. Fergusson ever actually realise what was there. I remember you mentioned that with my successful medicine roll, I was able to detect that something could be causing this.
Yes, the best that you could come to is that somehow there was either the waters themselves or something in the water, you weren't sure, was creating some type of hallucinogenic or some type of, at least, hallucinations from the vision that you had. You know that there's must be some property either to the water or something in the water that's causing this, that is producing these visions, as people are saying.
If we could get hold of a sample of the waters, I remember that Mr. Huntley, what's his name? Thomas Huntley? Awfully
Spencer.
sorry. Spencer Huntley, yes.
Spencer.
He's
Huntley.
something of a natural scientist himself. If we were able to get him a sample, do you think he might be able to find out any particular additional ingredients to it that may not be...
Unless, of course, he was the person to put them in there.
Do we have any...
He is a Huntley.
Here's a Huntley. If he is acting on the orders of the Horticultural Society...
Could there be anybody else in town?
A chemist?
Could know how to... Yes, perhaps. We could ask them both, and then if one gives a distinctly different answer to the other, surely that in itself is suspicious.
Indeed.
Quite.
Would we know, Keeper, whether the waters that are in the spa are also the waters that are from, like, standpipes and pumps in town that people are just using for their daily washing, watering horses, kind of watering gardens, quite literally?
You know that from going through having a few days to explore, you know that the waters tend to come from the natural spring and watershed of the area.
Right.
There is one of the, you have the baths and they also offer some of the waters. People bathe in these natural spring waters. There is a well at St. Anne's. That's all that's left of St. Anne's, pretty much, is the well. But a lot of the tourists, the people that come for the waters, go there to also imbibe for the healing properties. 1813, wasn't a tremendous amount of
no indoor plumbing,
and whatnot. Everything was pulled from the wells. So and then of course there's the river, but that's also part of. You're really making me do this science, Lydia. Thank you very much.
I'm wondering if I don't know if it's too early, but those big iron pumps where you pump the lever, whether they exist yet and they're kind of being used on the street for watering horses and that kind of thing.
I know if any of our viewers actually knows this, they may please don't come at me, but I'm going to say that it's still a little early for that. Okay. I think, but I may be wrong. But I know, at least at this point, wells are definitely have been around, especially most of them. The wells that have been around have probably been around for quite some time.
Right. Okay. I was just wondering where's the easiest place to get a sample of the water, but it sounds like St. Anne's is the place to go.
St. Anne's Well, indeed.
Yeah. St. Anne's Well would be the first place that you would think of in terms of knowing specifically that the water you're getting is from the natural spring water that the Reverend would have sampled.
Well, I suppose we should visit St. Anne's Well then.
Absolutely. And if we can get a sample, perhaps some proof, then potentially we can uncover the whole thing.
We should definitely potentially test it to make sure that it's not being added at the spa.
So if I were to pop to the spa and just purchase another glass but not drink it. And if we then head up to the well,
Yes.
we can
Yes.
get multiple samples and compare. I'm sure we could ask. I'd like to look up for the concierge and see whether I can request a couple of small glass bottles from their supply.
Of course, sir. I'm sure we can supply that. If you just and he kind of snaps his fingers and brings over one of the employees. Two would two.
3 to be on the safe side. I'm needing to bottle some holy water from the font at St. John's to take it home to my own parish.
Of course. 3 bottles, yes. And the employee runs off, probably towards where looks like they have a bar that's in one of the rooms, the card room. And after about 10 minutes, comes back with 3 bottles. Looks like they were probably used as like carafes for water for the tables. So he brings back about 3 yay big. They're a little bit bigger than what you probably need, but it's what he has.
That'll do. Thank you, good sir. And again, I take out a penny from my pocket and say, for your services, thank you.
Thank you. Okay, where is everybody heading?
Pump ass. To the pump house.
Yeah, off to the well for us, is it?
Off to the well.
Yep.
Are we separating? Or are they the same place? I'm confused.
So there's the baths, which are right there. The bathhouse that Mr. Fergusson had gone to before. That's pretty much on just about on site. So that's the easiest. And then the St. Anne's well, which is not too far away.
So we want to go to the one that's on site first
Yes.
to get some water.
Yes.
And then
to the
head to
well.
the wells. Yes.
That sounds a fair plan.
Okay.
So just to remind myself, Mr. Fergusson has drunk the water, but he hasn't been in the baths. He hasn't submerged himself in the baths. Is that something that we want to look at? Do we want to go and try and get in the baths as well? Or would that just be, if there's something dodgy going on with the water, we don't want to end up being
If you submerge yourself, you turn into a deep one. That
submerged.
sort of thing.
Yeah, exactly. We don't want to come out a fishman.
I've been to Kingscomb's
No.
Bar. It's not worth it.
The Mr. Fergusson suggests, based on his description of the vision that he had, and that was just from drinking a small glass of the water, makes you think that maybe bathing in that same water might be a bit much, or not the most advisable.
Because we'll want to stop other people from going in there if we think there's something really bad going on with the water.
Is it worth our while interviewing some of the potential drinkers or those who have drunk and seeing whether the experiences are the same? It may just be that I had a particular reaction or a particular turn.
It's quite a good idea. Perhaps if we see people exiting and ask them about their experience.
And checking people who have been into the waters as well.
Indeed.
If they, potentially people who might have been in either just coming out or who have been in a few days ago, see if any long-term effects have arisen.
Is there a tea room or something near the baths where people would come out and then take some refreshment?
Is there anyone here if the baths are at the Crescent themselves? I'm assuming we're currently in the nearest tea room.
Yeah.
Can we see anybody who looks like they have maybe wet hair, they've just taken a plunge bath, entering in or sitting around?
Not right now. No. Everybody here is put together. And you know that generally in the baths, they would soak. It would be like generally not necessarily full immersion. And if so, they would get cleaned up and they would go back, and put themselves to rights before they presented themselves back in public.
I see it's most fashionable here. Although I do hear down in Brighton, a gentleman called Saikdeen Mohammed has introduced a new therapeutic shampooing technique in the baths down there. I wonder whether that will catch on up here in Buxton at any point.
Fascinating. Well, for now, I think we ought to remain focused on the task at hand and perhaps simply see if there's anybody to question exiting who seems as if they have just drunk the waters.
A capital idea.
Yes.
Okay. So everyone's going to the baths, correct?
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. So all of you head towards the baths. The lines are already beginning, even at this early hour. People wanting to get in to take part. And nobody's coming out just yet. When people go into the baths, they're usually in there for a while. And it probably just opened just recently. So are you going inside and waiting? Are you just going to wait around outside?
So as not to look conspicuous, Mr. Fergusson is going to go back into the Roman exhibit and just have another look at the artifacts there and see whether there's any indication of where these artifacts were found.
You actually go back in and you take a look and just kind of examine all of those lovely artifacts. And at the base of the statue of the goddess Artemisia, you notice carvings that look like stones. And each of those stones happen to have a Roman numeral attached to it.
Are my compatriots also in this room?
Yeah, I've followed you in, I think.
Yes. I'll draw their attention. Have a look at this. Look at these. You can see some numerals down on the bottom. I wonder what they could mean.
19
It is a Roman
to
exhibit, is it not?
812.
There is. Is there any information, a bit more information about the statue itself that might indicate what these numbers are or why they're there, or is it just an incidental finding?
You believe that there is something specific about these. These numbers mean something. They're obviously carved into the base for some purpose.
A code of some sort? A substitution cipher?
Miss Chesterton, go ahead and give me a no roll.
Okay. I have 50. Edu? Oh, I said the roll 20 dice really hates me whenever I play Regency, and I've just got 79 against 50.
Push the roll. Push the
Push
roll.
the roll. Push the roll.
Push the roll. Push the roll.
All right, I shall push the roll. How to push a roll about knowledge.
Several things that have been popping up in your feed, in your mind, the connections that you've been making, the thought processes, and in fact, you're pretty sure you're onto something. So while everyone else is kind of looking around and examining the stone altar and the coins and the flyer that Mr. Fergusson found, and looking very closely at the statue of this goddess with the coin in each hand. It's right there. You're pretty sure. And you sit there and you draw on your childhood fondness for puzzles and ciphers and exciting things along these lines. We're going to go with that. Push that roll, please.
All right. I'm going to push it. Wish me luck, everybody. Come on. Come on. Yes, 47 against 50. Finally, at last.
And as you take the time and you push out all other distractions and you focus on these stones, it comes to you. The Roman numerals probably represent the placement of letters within the alphabet.
Ah.
All right. Now you're going to make me have to sing the alphabet song in my head and count, aren't you? All right. Talk amongst yourselves. I'm going to work this out, or I'm actually going to just look up a substitution cipher
1, 2, 3, 4,
online.
5, 6, 7, 8, 12.
If you share this with your compatriots, they will probably also be very intrigued and assist.
I'm going to go for my inner Indiana Jones here.
BHL.
Yay. Oh, I would definitely be sharing it with everybody else. Yes.
Okay, so everyone can help with this.
Then let me have her notebook.
SBHL.
And she's like,
What is it? Sorry?
SBHL.
SBHL. SBHL.
However, in the Latin alphabet, Jehovah starts with an I.
With an I.
Because there isn't a J and there isn't a Z in the ancient Roman alphabet. I'm half remembering stuff here. So has the author been very clever here and given us a...
You realize by working together that the letters that you have come up with are correct, but they just might not be in the same, the correct order.
Just a moment. And Penelope's sort of scribbling in her notebook. And then, now, this might be a bit far-fetched, but those are the initials of the Buxton Ladies Horticultural Society.
Oh.
They are.
That's inspired, Penelope.
And as you all come to that conclusion, a gentleman walks into the room, and as it is a very small room, it does not. He stands at the doorway, sees you, and goes, "There you are. I have been looking for you. We need to talk. My name is David Farrow. I am Petty Constable David Farrow, and I understand that you have been searching for Mr. Millwood. I may have some information to provide because he is far from the only man to have gone missing in the last several years." And with that, I'm going to draw the curtains on this particular episode of The Well of All Fear. Where will our investigators go next? You'll have to tune in to the next episode to find out. But for now, good night, and thank you for joining us here at the Miskatonic Playhouse.
Thank you for joining us for Act 3 of The Well of All Fear by Cat Clay. If you have enjoyed this episode, then please leave a review wherever you've watched or listened to this production. And if you'd like to support us further, please take a look at our Ko-fi. That's ko-fi.com/Miskatonic Playhouse and our website, www.miskatonicplayhouse.com, where you can find us on all the social media platforms with links found in the show notes. Until next time, when the curtain rises again.